Okay, so a little bit later of a start than I wanted, but we are still on track to get a possible view of Orion from a level 9 zone for your Bortle scale. It's going to be pretty ridiculous, but we'll see what we get. That's the whole idea of this video. It was originally inspired by something that I saw from Astro Backyard. Trevor over there mentioned that he's working on a collaboration with some other creators, and they're going to start looking at the bare bones, what does it take to get started in astrophotography rig. And to be honest, I was a little bit surprised at their recommendation. They recommended going with the T7 2 lens kit, which has a 18 to 55 and a 70 to 300 or 75 to 300. It's this lens right here, and this is the older version of the body. It's the T6. The difference is the sensor, which is a definite upgrade. However, they still lack a lot of the features, and that's why it surprises me that this is being recommended as a beginning astrophotography body. The T7 really is not ideal for beginners. It's good if you want to go cheap, but it's not good if you want to have a frugal investment of your money and you plan on shooting for a good deal of time. So let's take a look at a couple things. This is a basic body. It's Canon's entry level. That's going to hold true for T6 or T7. This is a entry level zoom lens. It's got really not a lot. It's glass, it's a tube, it focuses light. That's about all it does. It's a pretty basic lens, and that's really all you get. You get 9 autofocus points, which is not ideal for the money. It's not great. You don't get the articulating touchscreen, which is absolutely imperative if you're going to be doing any sort of deep sky objects on a DSLR or mirrorless body. You definitely want that full vari-angle touchscreen display, because if you don't have it, you're going to be bending over and twisting and getting on your knees and finding things to stand on, and it's just going to be a pain to use. It's going to be very, very difficult. The other challenge is that this body, it does not come with a sensor cleaning mechanism. You don't have any way to keep dust and other image affecting particles out of your frame autonomously. Other bodies that I shoot with, like the 60 Mark II, does have the sensor cleaning, and I can tell you it's worth the money to spend the extra little bit of cash to get a better body. And that's really what I wanted to take a moment to tell you, is there's some advice out there that's interesting. I don't think it's necessarily bad advice, but I definitely think that it is not necessarily in everybody's best interest to listen to that without first questioning if that has a motive and if it actually matches with what I understand to be good sound investment. We're looking at a body like this coming in with a 2 lens kit. I believe right now it's $549, which seems like a really good deal until you start understanding that it doesn't have the Wi-Fi. It doesn't have it's missing a lot of features that you're really going to want very quickly. The use experience is very, very limiting. It's just you'll find that it's a lot more frustrating having not spent the money. If you can only afford the baseline model, I mean, absolutely, it's still going to give you good results. The image sensor is perfectly great, but it is going to be a much more frustrating process of using it. And there's something to be said for having to put in your time and do it the manual way and having to learn this and having to learn that. I get that. Everybody says that. But I don't agree with that philosophy. That I want to be able to use something that's going to be enjoyable and that's going to keep me out there and keep me shooting. That's my primary focus. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to image with this lens, which is the 75 to 300. I also brought a 55 to 250, which is an incredibly sharp lens and something that I'd recommend over the 75 to 300. And I would also recommend, if you have the money, there's a body that's referred to as the 77D. It's still an APS-C sensor. Right now I think B&H and Adorama have it on sale for $549 or $599, somewhere in that $500, $600 range, and it's going to be a far superior camera. It's going to give you the vari-angle touchscreen. It's going to have sensor cleaning. It's basically a Canon 80D, which is a legendary camera in its own right. It has a very strong reputation. If you talk to a YouTuber and they talk about filmmaking on Canon equipment, the 80D is always going to be a top pick as far as the bodies that they would recommend going with. I think it's been replaced by the 90D now, and it's definitely getting phased out as Canon moves mirrorless, but it's still a great body. And like I said, the 77D is 85% of the 80D. It's a great camera. So that's really what I want to come out and say. Gonna do some test shots with the T6 and the 75 to 300. Then I'm gonna switch it over to the 55 to 250 and see if I could get any better results out of that. Compare those two lenses, and then really the only other thing that I wanted to say was, don't jump right on that deal about this T7 dual lens kit. It may seem like an attractive deal, but a little bit of homework and you're going to find that your money can go much further and produce a much more enjoyable experience for not that much more money. And the end result of spending the extra money will be getting you out into the dark skies more often, which is the only way to get your talent to grow. So have a good night or good day, depending on when you watch this. Enjoy.